I'd like to bring the March 13th Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Posnell?
Here.
Commissioner Selberg? Commissioner Buck?
Here.
Commissioner Zarmi?
Here.
Commissioner Walker?
Here.
Commissioner Coletta? Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Simons?
Present.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
And Chairman Flouché.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. A couple of announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete a request to speak form, which is also located in the lobby table next to the sign-up sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item, including sub-items that you'd like to speak on. Please note that there are stairs on the right, the left, and the center aisle, and we ask that you use caution when using these stairs. There is also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has any written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member at the back of the auditorium. And she's right back there. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the table with the overhead camera next to the podium to present your documents. If you want your documents to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item clearly numbered and marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members who are sitting in the table with microphones during the meeting. If you have any questions, please see the staff member at the back of the auditorium, and she can meet you in the lobby. Timer will be activated for all speakers and will be limited to 2 minutes to make your presentations and statements. Everyone, please turn off your cell phones, pagers, and place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a phone call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussion. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with the recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, April 1st at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, sodas, coffee, etc. Is allowed. Due to the governor's visit in this room today, the commission must adjourn at 11:50 a.m. If any agenda item 1 through 7 is still remaining, we will continue that item to next Wednesday, March 20th at 10 a.m. in the same location. If only agenda items number 8 and 9 are remaining, they will be continued to the April commission meeting. Approval of the minutes from last month.
I move we accept the minutes as read last month.
Okay, there is one correction that I noticed in there, and I don't, let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Bear with me a second. I know I caught something. I'll get with staff afterwards. It wasn't a big deal. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. Any additional discussion? No? We have a motion and a second for the minutes. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right.
Chairman?
Yes.
If you're going to find a mistake, can we amend the approval of the minutes to recognize that there may be a correction that you would notify staff, and then there we don't have to come back and look at them again?
Okay, could we restate the motion?
I move we accept the minutes with the possible amendment for a correction to last month's minutes. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on that. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Right. Item number 1.
Item 1 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessors parcel numbers 225-16001, 002, and 003 from an AR-5A agricultural residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone to a CMO 5A commercial manufacturing open lot storage 5-acre minimum lot size zone to allow storage, recycling, building products, and construction equipment in the South Mohave Valley. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 1? We have no speakers on item number 1. Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 1. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Item number 2.
Item 2 is an evaluation of request for a rezone of assessors parcel numbers 229, 034, and 035 from C2 general commercial and AR agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zones to a CMO commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone to allow commercial development in the Fort Mohave vicinity. Staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report. We do have 4 letters of objection and 1 in support. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Present. Okay. We have no speakers on this item. Would you like to address the commission? Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me speak. I do understand.
Please state your name first.
Candace Donofrio. And I do understand that there is some objection to our proposed rezone, and I'd like to speak to that briefly. First, I've only read 3 of the letters in objection, so one must have come in since the last one that I read. So I don't know what that one says. The other ones, I'd like to hopefully reassure that the objections are, hopefully that the objections are, I'd like to speak to them, and I'm a little bit nervous.
All right, take your
Hopefully
time.
assuage any concerns that they have. There's an auto repair business that had been, that is in favor. That one's in favor. He called me, he was really nice. The auto repair business that currently is housed in Building A, 1560 Dunlap, with doors closed. Oh, okay, no, I didn't see that one. Short and sweet. Anyway, the auto repair business that is in Building A has been in operation for the past 3 years without any complaints. Recently, a new tenant took over the business and signed a new lease for 3 years. Subsequently, the parties had been satisfied that all was well at the time that the tenant signed the lease. Subsequently, they found out that the use was improper, and our aim here is to bring them into compliance. The owner has done a lot of development on his lots, but he doesn't plan any future development. There's no open lot storage that is being considered. It is simply to bring the auto repair business into compliance so that they can reopen their doors and begin doing business. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
good morning. What would be your expansion that you're going to have on this project? What exactly you're going to have? What would be the nature of your business?
There's no plan for any expansion. It is
Okay.
simply to bring Lot 47 into compliance, to make it uniform with Lot 46 and with the CarsMart property that is adjacent to the south. Really, he doesn't have any interest in doing anything more to the lot. It was actually suggested to us that we apply for both lots at the same time.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'm familiar with the property and visited the site. It is very much, the application is very consistent with the neighboring projects and, businesses around.
Okay. Any additional questions of the speaker? Just one question. So the owner owns 46 and 47? Is that-
Correct.
Okay. All right.
He purchased 47, which had a tear-down mobile home on it. He purchased it and he tore it down. So in that sense, he actually did improve things because it was pretty ratty looking. It
Okay.
looks better now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve item number 2. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item 3 is an evaluation of a request for zoning use permit on Assessor's Parcel Number 225-14007F for a ground-mounted solar photovoltaic system in an AR, agricultural residential 1-acre minimum lot size zone in the South Mohave Valley. Staff recommends approval of the zoning use permit as indicated in the staff report. There's one letter of objection. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 3? Would you like to address the commission?
My name's Glenn Rail. I'm the owner of SunQuest Solar. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? We have no other speakers? Apparently not. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve item number 3 per staff recommendations.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on item number 3. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item number 4.
Item 4 is an evaluation of a request for rezone of Assessor's Parcel Numbers 34013-050B, 063B, and 079A from an A general zone to a C2H general commercial highway frontage zone to allow welcome center and adventure tours in the Chloride Dolan Springs vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the proposed rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Would you like to address the commission?
Thank you. I'm rezoning the property. We're affiliated with Star Point Resorts out of Las Vegas, which is also affiliated with Grand Hilton Resorts, Polo Towers, and also Marriott, in which we're looking at putting timeshare sales there and also half-price tickets for tours, but we're not doing the facilitating out of that area. It'll be done in Las Vegas. And also half-price tickets on shows.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. I'm sorry. Oh, could I get your name? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Terry Peterson.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Yes. Crystal?
Reading through here, I noticed that you're not within a fire district. Okay, and the way that the fire department's worked and, how do you plan on, are you doing your fire district when you start? Because even though you're building and you're starting and everything else to establish that, are you planning on making sure you have something for that? Because it's a lot of barren land and there are scattered residentials out there.
Yes, we're looking at in Dolan Springs, talking to somebody about that. We haven't facilitated that yet, only because of the zoning portion of it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman? May want to check with them, yes.
Yes, sir. So your access is only going to be off of Cottonwood Road to Voight Road, or will you be applying with the state to
No,
get
just
access
for
from the highway?
that point, at this point, going off of Cottonwood Road and Voight Road.
And what kind of volume of traffic are you expecting?
not
'Cause
sure at
that's
this point.
I know that road's not in the,
Yeah, I know it's pretty, but the resorts and would be willing to take care of any paving or anything that would have to be done to access people depending on the traffic. I've owned that property for over probably 25 years, so it was just, time to do something with it.
okay, thank you.
All right, any additional questions of the speaker? We have no other speakers on this item. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Item number 2 of the staff recommendation will address the requirements of the, the site plan and access, and all that, so just want to make sure you know them.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 4. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Item number 5.
Item 5 is an evaluation of request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 330320023 from an AR-10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR-3A agricultural residential 3-acre minimum lot size zone to allow creation of residential parcels in the Long Mountain vicinity. Staff recommends approval of the rezone as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Is the applicant present for item number 5? Would you like to address the commission or just questions? Well, I would kind of let us know what you're doing.
My wife and I own this
State
piece
your
of
name,
ground.
please.
My name is Greg Arnold, and my wife and I own this piece of ground, and we're just essentially hoping someday ourselves to build a house across the road. We live directly across the road on 1-acre zoning, so at some point when the economy recovers and we can sell our house at least a break even, we plan ourselves to build a house across the wash, so to speak, across the road. So that's what we're doing, is essentially just asking for a 3-acre minimum lot size for this rezone request.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? Hearing none, we have no additional speakers. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item number 5. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Item number 6.
Item 6 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 3360947 from a C2 general commercial zone to a C2H general commercial highway frontage zone to allow park and ride bus service in the Meadview vicinity. Staff recommended approval for the proposed rezone, subject to the conditions in the staff report. There's a letter of objection in your file, and I believe we received a petition this morning with 106 signatures objecting, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? Okay, we have a couple speakers on this item. Why don't we take care of that, and then we'll come back to you. Sam Stallings?
Sam Stallings. Hi, yeah, I'm the operations manager for Canyon Jet Boat Services. We operate a boat tour company next door to the property in question. Yeah, I'm here on behalf of the owners today. We just have a few concerns, 4 actually. One's the congestion and traffic scheme, that takes place out front. Next door is well, there's quite a bit of things going on. We have our business. There's the Rogers Market, and then there's the about 30 or 40 mailboxes that are out in front of the properties as well. And on a personal note, also there's a school bus stop there as well that stops at least 3 times a day. So, I mean, that would probably have to be addressed as far as the safety issue goes. It's directly right in front of the property, the Frenchies and the Rogers Market there, the bus stop is. So as far as our property goes, though, our concerns are the noise from the idling buses, the dust, and also the pollution. There's 2 existing bus stops, or bus stations, if you will, in the area, and they actually create quite a bit of pollution. Sometimes there can be like an inversion plume that could be 5 to 20 acres, literally. It looks like a field of fog, and that, depending on the weather and the wind pattern, that develops, and just from the idling buses, believe it or not. And as the lot sits right now, it's all dirt. So, and as you probably know, it can get pretty windy over there. So, and with the buses moving around, concerned is just the dust and the pollution and the noise, and also the reverse. The beeping noises from the buses, can get pretty loud out there. It's a quiet, calm desert, and it can be heard, from miles away. One of the bus stops I live probably 1,000 feet away from, and it wakes us up at 7 in the morning and can keep us up at night when the buses pull in at 10 and when they're working on them. So, that's
Go
it.
ahead.
Well, that's basically it. Those are the concerns: the dust, the noise, the pollution, and the congestion out front, and also the bus stop needs to be figured out. I mean, there's no other place that I know of in the area that could accommodate that bus stop, and so something would have to be figured out there just for safety reasons. I think there's 6 to 8 kids, and it stops there at least 3 times a day because there's the preschool. That stops. So I have a 4-year-old son that uses that bus stop twice a day, and there's a lot of other parents that do as well. So I don't know how that would work out safety-wise with a bunch of buses pulling in and out of there. That's it. Thanks.
What, your business is next door, you said,
Canyon Jet Boat Services.
right. Do you have a paved parking lot yourself, or is it gravel? or-
Ours is gravel.
Okay.
The way we utilize our business is
How do you control the dust on your property?
basically by not using it very much. We have an indoor warehouse where our buses stay, and where our boats stay. We have 45-foot jet boats, and during the 6 months of the summer operating season in the Grand Canyon, they're moored down at the river at Pierce Ferry, at the takeout of the river. In the winter, they're housed inside of a warehouse and where they're worked on. So we really don't use our yard very much
Okay.
outside. So.
Any additional questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Are the buses already passing through that road, main road?
Utilizing the 2 existing bus stations that are within a mile of the requested
But they pass
zone.
through, in front of this property anyway, right?
Correct.
So they are still, the amount of pollution and concern that you have would not change by passing by. So the only pollution that you're concerned about is by coming into the property, right?
Well, it'd be twofold, actually. You're correct, but it would most likely it would be increased by a third. We could estimate, because it'd be 30.
Thank you.
And then the idling is the main problem because they just don't turn the buses off. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it appears that Grand Canyon Resort Corporation wants this. Is that the safe assumption? And they want it for commercial purposes to aid them. The park and ride I'm thinking of is not necessarily the same concept. Maybe I've got a misconception there. Is there anyone in the room in favor of this going forward? And seeing there is one person, will we be hearing from these people, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know. I've only got 2 speakers that have signed up. Beg your pardon?
They represent the owner.
Okay. Any additional questions of this speaker? No? Okay. Ron Rogers.
Morning. My name is Ron Rogers. I'm co-owner with my wife of Rogers Market, which is on the other side, the north side of where they proposed the park and ride. We've been accustomed to this service before with Y Travel. That's just a block down the road. There's still buses pulling in and out there. It's not that we're against the Wallapies for doing this. We're against the buses, period. The buses do park all day long with the motors running in the winter for keeping the buses warm, and they run in the summer all the time with the air conditioners running so that people, when they get off of one bus, they get on the others. But they don't get right on the buses. We have a lot of congestion. The people get off these buses. There's no control over these people. They have no conception of what control is at wide travel. So I can't see where the people come in, they're same type of people, same nationalities and everything else. So they're going to be doing the same thing, and they're going to be wandering around. They've done this before. They're going to do it again. The main thing I have, my wife's got bronchitis really bad. She's got asthma. We get a lot of smoke because our doors are open in the summer. We get a lot of smoke and the fumes that come in just with the buses that go down Pierce Ferry from wide travel a block away. So we know we're going to get a lot more if the buses are next door. Like I say, we're not against anybody for wanting to do something with the property. We're against the buses, period. We were against the people in the area. We were against wide travel going in, and somehow they amazed, after it was turned down once, they amazed got it passed later that no one even knew about. I turned in a petition this morning with 128 names on it, and these mailboxes that Sam was talking about, there's 82 of them. There's not just 40. And I went out and counted them twice, make sure I was right. And there's a lot of older people that go over to these mailboxes, some on quads, some just walking across the road. So, you know, it's just going to add to the traffic. I can't see where wide travel is going to completely go away because they're trying to do something else with their buses, so they're going to still be pulling out of there a block away. It's just going to add more confusion. It's going to add a lot more people wandering around. So I just really can't see where it's going to help, and it's not going to help. We've been there 10 years. My wife wrote a letter. She sent it in. We've been there 10 years with the store. It's basically going to just about close our doors if the bus place goes in there. So,
I have a question. All the signatures that you got, are those the people kind of behind where you're at there in that?
They're in that general area, yes. They're people that would be that would have to put up with the buses every day. They're not just people that's going to come in once or twice a week or once or twice a month. These are people that live there in the area. A lot of these people do come into my store. A lot of the people live maybe 2 or 3 miles away, but they're still going to be impacted. These bus drivers, be truthful with you, these bus drivers do not pay that much attention. They think because they've got the bigger piece of equipment that they can pull out on the road and everybody's going to stop for them. I'm not saying this is necessarily going to happen with the Wallapies, but it's something that we have to worry about.
What could they do there that would make the surrounding neighbors more favorable?
At that location, I don't think anything for the buses, for the park and ride, because
I mean, if they paved the parking lot and they put up a fence to
they would have to
sound
put up,
barrier.
they would have to put up a block wall. And basically, it should be like an industrial park area where it's kind of conceived where they can control the people, and we wouldn't be getting the lights at night. We wouldn't be getting the noise. It would help deter the smoke and things like that down. You know, there's a lot of things they would have to do that I don't think for just 2 years. And this is basically what they're talking about. Their park and ride basically once the road gets finished and blacktopped, they won't be using this park and ride because the buses will be traveling straight up to the canyon end.
Okay, I'm confused. Say that again?
Okay, they're basically only talking about this parking ride for approximately 2 years, 18 months to 2 years.
Okay.
Because once the road that goes to the canyon gets paved, then Diamond Bar Road gets paved, all those buses will be driving straight to the canyon. The only reason why they have a parking right now is because the owners of these buses don't want to go up that gravel road. They still got like 10 miles of gravel and dirt road, and they're getting ready to start work on Diamond Bar Road. So when they do that and they get that completed, then these buses will go away. But we're talking about 2 years. My store can't take 2 years. We would have to close the doors because the smoke, people are not, you people right here would not come in my store if you was going to
Okay.
smell fumes and smoke while you're in the store.
We got that part. Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman, this might be for staff. Do we know how big the parcel size is for the white? Is it white transportation or white?
No,
what's the
for the
name of it?
Wallapies?
No, for the other bus. You said a block away.
Yeah, it's a block away.
How big is that parcel? Do you know? Is it the
Pretty
same
good size.
size?
It's like 2 or 3 lots together, and there's times
Does
there's been
staff
30
have that
buses there.
answer?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that is 3 parcels. It'd be about 3 acres.
It's on the corner of Lucky and...
Sir, we're just, hold on just a second. Go ahead, John.
It's as I recall, it's 3 parcels combined. It would be about 3-acre parcel.
Okay.
It is a larger, quite larger facility than what they are trying to do with this one.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The applicant, like to hear from them.
Good morning.
Please state your names.
My name is Terry Kirkham. I'm General Manager of Grand Canyon West.
And I'm Ruby Steele, one of the managers at Grand Canyon West as well. Good morning.
Good morning. We're basically here to answer any questions that you may have and address the issues as stated.
Well, you've got some neighbors that don't appreciate what's going on there. What can you do to mitigate that?
I've made some notes while they were speaking, so let me address some of them. Hours of operation will certainly be different than the existing park and ride that was run by Y Travel. Our intent is to run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There'll be no overnight activity like you currently see. They operate 2 facilities under Y Travel. One is the park and ride, and one is their maintenance repair area. All maintenance and repair will be done out at Grand Canyon West, so it won't occur anywhere in that area. So you won't have any of that nighttime activity. The physical facility is a little bit less than 1/3 the size of the existing park and ride. It's adequate for our needs. The park and ride service is basically a convenience to our customers. We will not target or focus on individual travelers. This is purely the bus operators coming out of A's. So it'll be significantly lower volume than what has been going on there.
What kind of volume is going on there now?
In the past, Y Travel would run as much as 2,500 to 3,000 people per day.
That's
We
how many
anticipate volume
buses
to be
is
about, you're 56 seats each, so 60, 70 round trips. We are anticipating a volume of under 600 people a day, so you would have about 15 round trips.
Why the difference?
Y Travel drives straight through from Vegas in their coaches to the canyon now. And they've shut down their park and ride operation. So we're only picking up a piece of what they were operating on.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So at any given time, how many buses are coming into this property and, loading, unloading? And the other question I have is, what do they do? Just walk around, just stretch and grab something to drink or water or something? Is that what it is?
Right, the passengers themselves will board one of our buses and leave within a 10 to 15 minute time frame.
Okay.
We're anticipating probably not more than 15 buses at a time. It is only a 1-acre site, so there's not a lot of abundance of additional parking there. We will renovate the old Frenchie's restaurant to be a welcome center, lounge area for the drivers, and ticket sales for any of the advanced bookings that are there, and most likely just a very small gift shop.
And at any given time, how many buses you said?
I'm sorry?
At any given time, the peak time or whatever?
We're budgeting for 5 buses of our own to transport passengers, which would equate to a maximum capacity of about 450 at this point, which would give you roughly 13, 14 buses.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
They're not all big over-the-road buses. Many of them are the 15, 18 passengers that come out.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Back to the idling issue and the air conditioner and the heater. It's obviously they run for the convenience of the energy to run the air conditioners and the heaters. Is it possible to establish 50 amp service where these vehicles that need to run to keep the heater and the air conditioning going could shut down and you could accommodate them?
We've hired a bus consultant to help us through this process, and the information he's referred to us is that those buses are not equipped with auxiliary electrical systems. So adding that type of a system, I own an RV, I live in an RV, so that was the first question is, can we plug them in? And apparently, in a general term, the answer is no. There are a few of the high-end coaches that do, but not everybody. They run currently because nobody polices them. We will have security on property. We will police them. All the manufacturers tell us that even in our extreme temperatures, It should not take more than 30 to 40 minutes of runtime to cool that bus down or to heat it in the winter. So we will restrict those drivers from leaving them running only during the times if they need to cool down or heat up for the passengers to get in.
What do you thought about blacktopping to cut down on the dust? Because I know when those things take off, they do create a lot of dust. And I know you still got to go through more stuff through the development services, but have you thought about that in any way?
Yes, our original plan is to do compacted gravel, but if blacktopping is required, that's fine.
Okay, kind of getting back to the noise issue again. I don't know much about those kinds of buses other than they're just like a big motorhome. Is it possible that you can back the buses? Well, first of all, we're probably going to have to do something about sound, because I know they have the backup buzzers. But also, is it possible in the scheme of things, when buses arrive, rather than pull in, they back in one time, so when they leave, there's less congestion and issues for backing up and pulling forward, backing up and pulling forward, and also the issue of the congestion with the mailboxes? Is that something you guys might help? You know, you got to talk to the post office, but you know, maybe there's another location where it's a lot of mailboxes to move, but still where you guys might cooperate with the residences there, kind of a good neighbor thing.
Our design calls for basically a big U turnaround. The building itself sits off-center of the lot line so that there is about a 30 or 35-foot driveway on the narrow side and about 80 or 90 feet on the other side. So we would have them pull in one direction, back up one time only, and then exit through the other direction. The exit would be further south, away from those mailboxes, approximately 100 feet.
Is the property currently fenced?
Around the outside perimeter, we did remove one section of fence that was in bad repair.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It is just chain link fence, though.
Yeah.
I have a question for staff. I haven't visited the site, but I see some, seems like RVs in the distance in that picture. Is that like a subdivision? Those are homes? Have you visited the site?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the site.
Could you
So, yeah,
elaborate?
those are homes behind that location there, and I've used the Rogers convenience store as well, and I know those mailboxes are right there. I mean, that's right across the street, and that just really concerns me with the amount of residents that would have to fight to get in and out of their
They're talking
mailbox.
84 mailboxes. That's a lot of mailboxes.
Yeah, and they are, I mean, it's just right across the street, but it's a little bit catty-corner, but still, they would have to deal with those buses coming in and to get in there, and if you've got, people walking across the street to get their mail, there's a lot of safety issues there, in my mind.
Commissioner President, how many homes are on the back?
It's scattered back in there. I mean, there's quite a few homes back in there. Maybe, Crystal, can you answer that?
Yeah, actually I would say approximately go for a mile south and a mile north of that area, and then a mile back, okay? And there are scattered homes, but there are approximately that are picked up right now, 180 on the average in just a mile radius. And some of them are, come and go. Some of them actually rent them out to vacationers. There's all kinds of different things that go up there because of the land sites. And I have lots of questions on this too.
Okay.
But there's.
Let's go away.
Okay, first, I'm looking at your site plan. You have a new trailer back there. It says new trailer on your site plan?
That was a potential bathroom unit.
Okay, so it's going to be restrooms.
Correct.
But yet you're opening up the restaurant part of it for drivers.
For a lounge area, yes.
Okay, and that's not gonna attract any public vehicles? You're not gonna have any
No,
type of parking?
There's not
for-
adequate space there to do that.
Okay, the next question I have, when you put the bathrooms in there, the average, you said you're using the small coach buses, which are about 18 foot in length?
But they range anywhere from the small ones to the 56-seaters.
Okay.
There's no way of
If
telling
you
which
take a
ones come
trailer
which
that's
day.
12 foot and put it behind the existing building, you take your bus of approximately 30 to 56 foot, your turn ratio, which is approximately your bus to make the turn, when you're backing in, as he was talking about earlier, no forward and backing up motions, I know it takes a lot to turn those buses. I know they dig into everything, concrete, you know, asphalt, other, especially in the heat. So you are gonna have your forward and backward motion, even when you back them in with your beepers and all of that. So it does have noise. Decimals on a bus reach up to 0.12 decimals. Listening to those decimals, excuse me, for any length of time, and especially over long periods of time, creates to small children hearing problems. It's just a heavy machinery. You start adding more buses to that, plus the running decimals. We're not even talking about the backup, just running decimals off a bus for 1 hour can create impairment to, you know, younger kids, and surroundings, wildlife. It affects everything. Were you planning on putting a sound barrier wall to the back and at least halfway up your property sides to protect everything around you?
That is in the plans, yes.
And how high would that be, and what is it gonna be constructed of? Will it be a regular barrier wall or just a concrete hollow?
That is part of what we employed the bus consultant to tell us. I believe it's going to be, it would need to be in the neighborhood of 8 feet, and then some kind of sound deadening material.
Okay, with the limited space, once you put the trailer behind there, when you unload buses and you go to reload them, are you going to have a designated path for public traffic going to one bus to the other so that you don't have the hindrance of bus drivers who don't see, you know, kids and people running around back and forth? You know, it has happened in the past, I've seen it happen, that the buses will not travel, and you'll have a walkway, you'll have people crossing for that line of public safety.
That is correct. We have all of those types of safety items in place at Grand Canyon West already. We're very familiar with using them. Our idea is to staff it adequately to be able to help the buses pull out onto the road safely, not interfere with the other traffic coming up and down that road or the mailbox sites.
I know this is a little bit out of the ordinary for this kind of operation, but have you done any traffic studies at all?
Just the studies that were done with the original park and ride operated under wide travel.
How long ago was that?
That's been
I don't know, 2005, maybe?
2005, 2006, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, it was a pretty busy time. I've got to agree a little bit here on some of these issues. I don't think a chain link fence is going to cut the mustard. I think it's going to have to be a block wall, and it's going to have to come up part of the sides also, because I agree, that is the most annoying thing in the world is these backup things, but they're there for safety. So, any additional questions from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Yes.
You know, the gentleman earlier said that there was possibly just a temporary 2-year deal, and I know that I believe you just got approved, or you just sent out the bids for the paving of the road, I believe, is last I know. Is this going to be a temporary 2-year, 3-year deal until the road gets paved out to the?
That is correct.
Okay.
Actually, just the update on the road, the bids opening was done. It is in the final approval process of the bid through Fan Construction was a low bidder. With BIA, we expect to start construction on that in early April. It's going to be about an 18-month process at the earliest to complete that road.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
With over 100 people writing a petition, and with a businessman willing to give up people coming into his business, it raises some very interesting concerns, but you also have concerns and needs and purpose, and I'm not sure we understand, or at least I don't understand, what happens if we say no. Do you have a plan B that you're doing right now? What kind of burden is created if we say no to you?
We are looking at other options. It would involve purchasing property and going through this process with whatever new property we find. We are pursuing the purchase of 3 acres, 3 different parcels that surround this property. Just depending on what the decision of this commission is as to what we need to do.
Excuse me, if you buy those 3, then would you be back before us with another zoning change?
Most likely, I would think so, because I think a couple of them are residential. But they are, if you're familiar with that area, the lots along Pierce Ferry Road are relatively level, and then the next lot behind them drops down into a wash.
Mm-hmm.
One of those 1-acre parcels extends up through the center of that wash. So it would be unusable for us. It would simply be a safety factor and a noise barrier to have that additional space around there.
So I'm sorry, Mr.
Go ahead.
So you're talking about the 2 residential lot, or the 2 lots to the east of this property then, is that correct? Basically behind the building?
Yes, there's one directly behind it. The others face Amherst and have dwellings on them. But then there are 2, I believe there's 2 other parcels kind of behind the jet boat operation that are also available for sale.
And the one with the residential would be behind the Rogers convenience store?
That's correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What are you doing now? How are you handling this issue now?
We're doing a temporary operation out of another facility, but it's an hour extra drive.
But if it was for 2 years, is it an hour drive in an RV is not the same as an hour drive in a VW, obviously. Is it the buses that are traveling the extra hour?
That's correct.
Is it possible, Mr. Chairman, the trying to get both people to be happy, I realize maybe a reach.
Could be hard.
Oftentimes, recognizing the other question would be for the 100 and some people, if they had the business, what would they suggest other than simply not doing it? Is there a further spot down the road? Is there a further spot above the road? We all need to live happily ever after. Is there an alternative? If they had these folks' problem, what would their recommendation be? And I don't know if the spokesman was prepared to answer that, or the owner of the market, perhaps. But.
Well, I did ask him, and he pretty much said nothing would please him.
Okay.
So, but there's got to be some kind of comment. My question, the lot behind you, which is parcel 474, you're on 487. Is that the parcel you're talking about?
That's correct.
And what about the one to the north of that, which is 473? And that looks like it's got residential on it. Is that right?
Yes.
There's some sandwiched in between.
Yeah. So those parcels you're talking about, I'm trying to find a wash on here that you were talking about.
Well, I use the word wash. It dips down probably
Okay,
10 feet
okay.
difference in elevation.
Okay. No, okay.
So that property, we might get another 10 to 15, 20 feet of usage off of it, but not the entire depth.
It can be made usable if they wanted to make it usable. It's not technically a wash, it's a rolling hill, and it is backed up by the back road that's passable.
Well, my only thinking here is where the lot is now, and if they purchase that other lot in lieu of doing what they're doing here, it just brings it more into the neighborhood, rather than
Mr. Chairman?
staying at where all the commercials at. Yes.
From the land use ordinance, the zoning is C2, C21A. So I think that, we also have to consider that because it is a C2 and the application is to go from a C2 to C2H. So my thinking is that, our commission need to consider that as a land right and also, have provisions for the sound, I think, which, the staff correctly, they said that, they have to have a obscuring, fence, which I assume that would be fence with a block wall and all that, and there can be some textured wall, so it minimizes the noise and all that. But I think we have to consider that as it is a C2 property, and they're asking to go from C2 to C2H. So we're going to make sure that we don't go outside of our jurisdiction,
Right.
and we match the item on the agenda with, the land use ordinance that we have.
Right.
With
Well-
all the respect with, the residents behind.
Well, we just need to figure out what we want to do here as far as some of the major issues here, and then when he goes into getting his permit for this other building that he's talking about and anything else, he's going to have, I don't want to use the word saddled with it, but these are going to be part of the recommendations. And of course, you can always go to the board of supervisors who make the ultimate decision, so. Any additional questions of the speaker? Any questions of anybody?
I have a question, maybe more for staff. Are we looking at doing a idle time limit for commercial vehicles at all? I know some of the bigger cities have done that, but are we looking at that in the county?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Walker, not that we are aware of. That would most likely come out of the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Okay, we have no more speakers on the item.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think that, I just make a suggestion to the applicant and again to the commission, if they would consider for us to table it for, 30 days for you to go back and try to meet with those in opposition, have some sort of a communication going on and come back. Because right now your application is not clear about, what you're going to present, what kind of wall you're going to have, how you're going to prevent some of the objections that you hear that. My suggestion is that, if you could go back to them and talk to them, find out, what their real objection is and, see how you would be able to come back with some provisions, as long as the commission is open.
I have to agree. I mean, I'd rather him come back and say, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I've talked to the neighbors rather than us dictating. That dictating is not probably the same thing to do. Would you be okay with that? Yes, go ahead.
I don't think we would have any objection to that, but we have had numerous discussions with Rogers Market itself, as they are right next door to the north of us. We've heard their concerns. We've talked to, the petitioners. We understand their concerns. We understand the staff's concerns. We know that there have been previous issues with the previous park and ride, but we just want to make clear that we're a different entity, and in no way or form are we wanting to do what the previous park and ride did. We have we have respect for the staff who have given great recommendations to us on infrastructure issues that do need to be addressed, and we've heard concerns from Mr. Roger himself. We don't object to that. We just want to make clear that we're no way or form going to be operating our business as the previous park and ride has been.
Well, sometimes we find that having a little community meeting, coffee and
Yep.
donuts, cookies, whatever, and explain to them exactly what you're going to do, and then come back to us and say, this is how we're going to mitigate this is how we're going to mitigate that, and I think it'll be a lot smoother sailing for you at this particular point, because I'm not sure that we're going to be able to give you what you want the way it sits right now.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It's not only one individual. I guess there are
it's 100
over 100 and some, people. So you would be able to invite them, communicate with them, and at the same time, as I said, right now the application is not clear about the provisions of their concern, meaning like, the noise, the dust or whatever. So I think that you could be completing those and presenting it back with a fence that, most probably is going to be a block, how high it would be, what material you're going to be using. I think if you do that, then I think the commission would be more open to review it and then make the correct recommendation to the Board of Supervisors.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd just like to note too, a couple of things. First of all, I think looking at pushing this back to the east into the residential neighborhood wouldn't be a good solution for anybody here. I think that just causes more circulation problems and more problems and impacts to the neighbors. there's a lot of issues there, that I think some of them can be mitigated. My biggest, I like Mr. Arzami's recommendation to try and come together and find a way to work this out. I think, one of the things to consider, it appears to be a temporary use. We're talking a 2-year use. The applicant's looking to, potentially make some nice improvements to a property that's been abandoned. Could, in the long term, be a benefit to the neighborhood if walls are put up, the buildings improve, parking lots paved, those sort of things, that when this use moves on, it'll be available for somebody else to continue forward with a different use. I think the biggest concern for me is the public safety issues that exist along that roadway, particularly the mailbox situation and the bus stop for children. I don't know exactly how those items are resolved, but I think those are very important to consider, and along with the meeting with the neighbors, discussions with staff too on how to resolve those issues properly would be in order.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to table this item for 60 days.
Continue.
Continued for 60 days for the applicant to have the opportunity to meet with the neighboring properties and the staff and come back with a revised application.
I'll second that.
Okay, we sure we want 60?
They have to have time to talk to
Okay.
people.
All right. We have a motion to continue this for 60 days. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Okay. I think you got a little bit of work cut out for you, but I think it'll be easier than you think.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
we got 15 minutes to cover probably the hottest ticket on the
Yeah, I
finance
know,
card.
I know.
Is there anything else we could maybe deal with and then only have just the one issue?
Well, what's everybody's thinking? What do you want to do here?
I think we can
Well, you know what, let's just do,
That's right.
let's just do 7 and let's do that, and then we're done with the basic agenda items.
Okay.
Item number 7,
Item 7 is an evaluation of a request for zoning use permit on assessor's parcel numbers 201-40-002 through 017 for a shooting range, test center, and landing field in an AR 36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone in the Wickiup vicinity. Staff recommends approval as indicated in the staff report, and there's one letter of objection. Thank you.
is the applicant present? Yes, I am. All right. We have no other speakers on the item. Would you mind coming up and chatting with us for a second?
My name is Ed Hope. We purchased this piece of property back in 2004. We've been holding this shooting activity on this property since that time. We do 2 shoots a year. This is the largest machine gun shoot in the U.S. And we get shooters from all over the U.S. And we get numerous people from Europe coming to watch this activity. And we've been doing this for about 25 years.
So it's not open to the public, per se?
Yes, it is open to the
Okay.
public.
So somebody could go down there Sunday afternoon and sign in and go shoot their
Yes.
weapon?
Yes,
Okay.
they can.
But you have like a couple tournaments, is that what you're saying?
Yes, we do 2 of these shoots a year, once in October and once in March.
Okay, looking at the map, you've got a section of land here. Based on what I was seeing here, the shooting, the direction of the shoot, and I'm hoping that you have somebody on site all the time.
Absolutely. This shooting range is what we call an event range, and it's not open to the general public. We only use the range during these shooting activities. we have renters on the property who have used the property for test purposes at other times of the year, but this is not open to the public.
Okay. I read or seen something where the direction, fire directional is more to the south.
Yes, it is. We have a.
I know
there's a-
the letter of objection was the northeast
Northeast corner.
corner, 320 acres, so.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure and verify that you were shooting in an opposite direction and hopefully toward the BLM land,
Yeah.
so. Okay. I'm done. Any additional questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What kind of cost benefit do you think this has for the county?
You know, the organization that's in there using the property for test purposes have probably 5 or 6 employees for that activity. We have 30 employees during the shoot, so that's 60 people twice a year. We're also, one of the things that we've done is we have a drawing during the shoot, and we split the pot between the shooters and the local school district in Wickiup, the
I
Owens Whitney
apologize to
School
interrupt
District.
you because we have a problem with the time right now. You've been in business for 25 years. What kind of income or sales, tax or whatever you pay to the communities?
To the community?
What kind of income you generate that would, associate with the tax?
We have something on the order between about 175 shooters to 225 shooters that come into the range. We have anywhere between 300 and 500 spectators. So that's a large volume of business going through Wickiup. We've made arrangements with some of the businesses in Wickiup to take the garbage from our shooters, which brings them into their business places.
Okay, could you translate it to the dollar amount? What dollar amount you charge people overall in a year to, use your facility?
The shooters pay $225 to be able to shoot on the range. And we charge the spectators $25 a person to come in.
Okay, thank you.
Some good road, plus property taxes.
Plus property taxes, yeah.
Are there any other improvements to the property? You're going to put the landing strip in, and you got your firing line. Are there structures on there?
No, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I know one of the concerns from the letter was the environmental issue, and it's my belief that most shooters tend to be conservationists. Is there, a program that you have in place for making sure no lead is used and those types of things?
Yeah, and of course, everybody pleases up the brass. It's kind of self-limiting
yeah, a lot of
because
ranges
the
work like
brass has
that,
become so
correct.
valuable.
Right.
Many of our shooters reload, so the people are pretty careful about cleaning up. We brought in the 4-H club out of Wickiup, and the kids come in and pick up the brass and pick up the trash for us. So we're pretty careful about.
Is there going to be trap shooting type?
No.
No trap
we
shooting,
don't
so
do
you don't have
trap
to worry
shooting.
about
No.
using the,
And that tends to be a little messier.
correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any additional questions? No? All right, we have no additional questions. I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
It was a motion with a whole bunch of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Over seconded
well,
it.
everybody was, I guess they're pushing to get out of here. All right. Well, I think what we're going to do is, there's nobody here, but let's officially do this, call to the public. There doesn't seem to anybody coming up to the podium. I will entertain a motion to carry items number 8 and 9 to the next regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Any additional comments, questions, or discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to request the staff not to accept objections or approval or whatever letter within a time period of our meeting. Because, for example, I did not have the opportunity to, it seems like that 100 and some, letter of objection got to you like last night or yesterday afternoon or sometime. We need to have a buffer so at least we would have the opportunity to study those. If you could, maybe have some sort of policy, within a period that, they would, they have all the kinds of time to turn it in and, we need a little bit more time.
Commissioner Azami, one problem with imposing a limitation like that is that these are open hearings for the items that are on the agenda, and if you limit input, to a period, prior to the hearing, you might run afoul of the open meeting law requirements and the open hearing requirements.
I understand that, but at the same time, we lose the opportunity of not being able to review any of those and, coming to the meeting unprepared. That's why I'm saying that, none of the people are here, and we know that there's 100 people that are objecting, yet we don't have the opportunity to review it, or at least I didn't have the opportunity to review it.
Well,
So
we don't have a chance to research it either.
Right. So that would be unfair to the applicant, it would be unfair to those people. So I think that, if they want to show up, if that within the last 24 hours, if they have any comments, they better show up to the, podium and, talk. But if it is going to be, before that or prior to that, then, we receive it, we can take a look at it or review it. So that's my comment.
Yeah,
But
well,
perhaps we can look at any written material that is going to be submitted as part of the packet. We can take a look at that, see if there's some way we can structure that without running afoul of allowing the public their opportunity to put their input in.
No, they can put their input, but I'm saying that, like 48 hours for the written material to be submitted to the staff, so, at least we would have the opportunity to review it.
I think what Mr. Zama is getting at is someone comes in who says, here's 125 signatures. It could be for anything, and doesn't give anybody a chance to actually see if they're valid signatures or, it just, I've got 127 or whatever it is against something is pretty daunting to the cause of whatever's going on. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah. So I know there are limitations, but maybe we can figure out something.
Yes, if nothing else, with some strong encouragement that if you want.
Okay. Any additional comments from the commissioners or staff or anybody? If not, as promised, we'll be out of here. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn, a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
I forgot I was going to make a motion for the.